alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello, my name is Umar al-Dhuhuri. I'm a senior analyst from Mubadala Investment Company and a Mubadala ambassador. So today I have the great privilege and honor of welcoming the Aldar Youth Council, who are coming in to join us to showcase their sustainability efforts, how it is they are taking part in being a part of COP28 and being a part of the overall wider sustainability efforts that we are taking on in the region. So for those of you who don't know, Aldar Properties is a real estate development and asset management company based in Abu Dhabi, in the United Arab Emirates, and it was established in 2004. Aldar is known for developing iconic projects such as Yas Island development, which includes the Yas Marina Circuit, Ferrari World, and they've also been involved in residential, commercial, and hospitality projects, contributing significantly to the real estate landscape here in the UAE. And Mubadala Investment Company is a proud shareholder of this asset, and we have, again, the great honor of introducing Sara Al-Kathiri, who is a Senior Strategy Associate and Chair of the Aldar Youth Council. Welcome, Sara. And also another Sara Satrawi, who is a Senior Associate and Sustainability and Social Impact and a Youth Council Lead. So big honor to have both of you here. We're going to start today's session to just kind of kick it off with a quick question showcasing the question of what is the prime objective of YouthSpeak Forum in Abu Dhabi, and why is it so important to engage, empower, and commit right now?
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thank you so much, Umar, for the great introduction. I mean, as a youth council, we do have a duty to empower youth in all fronts and not only sustainability. But given that we are hosting COP28 this year, and it is the year of sustainability, we only thought it was natural to bridge our efforts into one. I mean, us as a youth council, we want to be the community at Aldar and beyond that flourishes youth potential. It is a place where people come together and feel empowered on topics that feel most relevant to them. And so the Aldar YouthSpeak Forum was really one of those areas. We've been working on that a long time, planning it a few months. So maybe, Sarah, would you tell them why YouthSpeak Forum? Because I had no idea, just to be frank, what the YouthSpeak Forum is. Sarah brought it.
Thank you, Sarah. When Sarah, our chairwoman of the Youth Council, came to us and she said, this is the year of sustainability, what can we do to connect the year of sustainability with our Youth Council objectives, which are, like you said, empower, engage, and connect. The first thing came to my mind is UAE and Abu Dhabi always brings the world's biggest, the world's largest, the world's most empowering initiatives. So coming into the country, I decided that, or with the conversation with Sarah, we thought, why not bring the world's largest youth-led organization and have the matter experts empower youth, not by some senior people sitting in a board making decisions, but youth for youth by youth. That was the approach that we went for. To empower them is to give them the space to actually fill in the knowledge gap in terms of what are the SDGs, what are the sustainability development goals generally. And to engage them is to actually give them, I want to say, ownership and power to actually take a stance and decide what does each one of them want, what does it look like for each one of them. And this was the outcomes of this forum. Every student, every delegate, international or local, came in. They filled in the knowledge gap on the SDGs, and they came up with projects that they feel like are relevant to them, to their communities, and to where they come from, and for them to then execute.
Yeah. And maybe just to highlight more on the forum, it was a 2-day-long forum held in our prized Yas Island, and it gathered more than 200 participants over 2 days. You can imagine how people needed to commit, and they did commit, which was surprising. We were anticipating some sort of fallout after the first day, because it does take some effort, but people saw it through, and they were so happy with the ownership and the of their ideas. One, the fun that they had with people that they either have met in Abu Dhabi or they haven't met before at all. So that was really fun. Just a overview on the forum.
No, even myself, I was looking on social media and I saw the coverage of the forum myself. So I saw the great efforts that the Youth Council has done and the many influential youth that they brought onto the council, onto the platform in itself. And having individuals from many different backgrounds in one big platform, such as the YouthSpeak, showcasing their efforts on how it is that they can ensure a sustainable future and really take part in what it is that the global challenges require. So kudos to you guys, very well done.
Thank you.
And so going on to the next question. So as you guys know, the United Nations have sustainable development goals that they're trying to achieve by 2030. The Sustainable Development Goals showcase and cover a wide range of many different aspects and topics, from education, sustainability, clean energy, so on and so forth. The Youth Council for this forum specifically, they focused on the two SDGs being SDG 11 and 14. So if you could quickly maybe highlight what those SDGs are and how it is that you incorporated it into your event.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Let me just show you maybe just a quick reminder of what the SDGs are. There are around 17 SDGs, and we really thought maybe we can't solve all of the sustainability issues in one form, but we can definitely pick the ones that are most relevant to us, where we have the most expertise, and we know are of most influence to our immediate community. And so we picked SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, and SDG 14, which is life below water. I always ask this question because I think not many people know it. We are a company based in Abu Dhabi, and we love Abu Dhabi so much. And Abu Dhabi is primarily an island and has over 200 islands, whether natural or artificial. So that's really important for SDG 14, in addition to our main partner, which is Environmental Agency of Abu Dhabi, where this is their focus, marine biodiversity and marine protection. And then no-brainer, Aldar, sustainable cities and communities. That's all we do. That's the focus right now. And we're transforming either our communities through retrofits or building new ones and putting sustainability at the forefront. So really that was where we ended up saying, okay, let's focus on two and have two winners, two big groups of people working together on the SDGs. So let me even move one step forward. So Sarah, would you like to take our attendees over 11 and 14?
Sure. So the conference or the forum was held over two different tracks. One track for the students who wanted to solve the SDG 11 challenge. And for this track, we had the very, very bright speakers you can see behind me. And you can notice they're all youth. They're all within the age range of the students. They discussed topics like what are the top priorities of Abu Dhabi when it comes to SDG 11 and liaison with the government agenda and the experts on the panels throughout the day. The highlights were how can we first educate people on sustainability, and second, which is a buzzword you hear a lot in the UAE, how can we make Abu Dhabi or the UAE overall inclusive and accessible for people of determination, for elderly. And from these two inspiring, let's say, talks and keynotes, the students then, based on the learnings they had here, which is the inspire part, moved on to the engage part. To deliver their projects, which we have a slide later to walk you through the top 3 projects that won in this SDG. This is the second challenge, which is Life Below Water. This was sponsored by Environmental Agency Abu Dhabi. And we had, this was very interesting because a lot of people wanted to go beyond the water and think of animals on land and bees and different things. But I think this forum gave us a clarity on what youth really care about, what matters to them most. And honestly, I was blown away with the ideas. Like Sarah said, the hotel management literally had to call them out to leave because they wanted to stay so long to just brainstorm and work and create their solutions, which is very, honestly, very inspiring to work with students with such commitment, such drive. We learn a lot from them, Saraha. Goes both ways.
And one of the other main highlights of our sessions were really the speakers that brought their amazing knowledge to other students. It was really engaging and inspiring to see. We'd like to call them the older youth and the younger youth because we did have a kind of a big range of ages across the event. So we've had from as young as 14, I would say, 14 years old to as old as 31 and 2. And by the way, 35 is the maximum of you being youth. So we've had a big gap, and it was really nice to see how the younger youth were eager to learn from the older youth, and how while there is a gap in experience and in life experience, work experience, both came together to try to find solutions in these specific SDGs. And we will highlight them briefly in the next slide. So we ultimately got 2 winners. We had a panel, a judging panel, made up of both sponsors, so Aldar, an environmental agency of Abu Dhabi, and other partners like the Climate Tribe. We've had people come together and pitch. We've had the students pitch their ideas in a very formal, like you're going to present to an investment committee or a board. It was really intense, and they had to do it with only 2 days of preparation. And they put the idea, the feasibility, the marketing strategy, their customer strategy, everything together in 2 days in the presentation, I believe, in the last 3 hours. So it was really interesting to see how they could deal with stress. That was one of the things that we really think of when we talk about empowering our youth. So it's not just giving them the potential to hear from people, but also to be the speakers and to be the people who provide those insights themselves. And that was one of the interesting parts. And then we heard their pitches. So that was interesting, because some ideas were really great, but probably not doable given the resources that we have. But Sarah, I don't know, do you want to walk the attendees here on the winning ideas and maybe how we had to pick through them through the pitch?
Sarah, and you were a judge on the SDG 11, I'll cover 14. The winning project for SDG 14 was very interesting. The idea was really, really smart, even though the environmental agency had a bit of constraints in terms of, if you can see the idea here, it's, let me read it. It's financially rewarding marine conservations by using innovative approach to enable fishermen to collect waste from the sea during their fishing trips. The challenge here, which is something we're going to help them develop and sort out, is using nets for fishing is something that the UAE is no longer doing because it's harmful for the environment. So how can we still make their solution feasible is the next step. And just like any entrepreneurial or social or environmental idea, the students are expected to face challenges. We're expected to mentor them to the fruitfulness of this project. And this was, if I'm not mistaken, one of Aldar academies as well, the project that won the first place. The second one is Eco Reef Guardian. They wanted to build 3D models of corals that have a system of filtration independently. Now, again, the technicalities of how this is possible is something we're carrying forward to help them navigate. But these are really just the top 2 examples. Number 3 was Trash Boom. It was an octopus-shaped design that would also collect waste from the oceans.
And as you hear those ideas, you may think, oh, I think I know something. And I'm sure, I think I've seen a few faces here like, oh, I think I've heard of something like that before, or that's not totally crazy. And we do believe that as well. So as they're coming up with these ideas, we're thinking, okay, it may not be entirely the thing that we're going to do, but definitely bits and pieces, and we can enhance from there. On SDG 11, the winning idea was a gamified solution that is kind of, I'm not a gamer myself, but I know there's tons of gamers who love the simulation of real life experiences and doing it in a gamified way, and how they can reward people in living sustainably in their communities and in their schools, and use that like tokens to make eco-friendly purchases, and understand and start really at the root where awareness comes in. This is one of the key things, because as an insight, students, while they are, I believe, much more aware than many of their older people on the sustainability issues around us, they still see some issue in awareness within their schools, even their immediate communities, their families as such. So this is one of the amazing ways that we could bring awareness, but also try out what a sustainable community looks like, for example, and how we can reward that. The other winning in second place and third place, the story of Emma. That was one of the most amazing ideas I've heard, because it really garnered into the power of storytelling, hence the name Story of Emma. It really was how can Emma, who was facing an issue, turn trash and waste into good compost that could be used in the future. So while that is not a groundbreaking idea, it's just the power of storytelling and how that can be encompassed within students, younger age students, and them reflecting that. And then the last idea was the Zest project, which was super interesting. Do you know the rowing machine at the gym? Yeah. So how can we build power that could be used in our households or otherwise and other places through that machine or similar ideas? That was, I thought that was amazing. If I used that machine just as hard, I don't know how much energy it would take, but that was super amazing. And while we think it's great, maybe the application would be much harder, but this is the power of partnering, and we have partners with us to tell us, listen, this is a great idea, let's do it. Or listen, this is a crazy idea, let's just thank them for it. And we've had our ups and downs with the pitches. That's it.
No, very well said. And not only did you guys choose these 2 SDGs given the fact that they're relevant to your industry, but you also chose them given they're relevant to the context of Abu Dhabi and the UAE specifically. Obviously, as you know, the UAE is a very tolerant and inclusive community, really taking a role in making sure that they have anybody and every kind of individual be included and accepted in their communities, and this includes people of determination. So the fact that you guys are very inclusive is honestly a big, I want to say, testament to what it is that Aldar is doing and the wider United Arab Emirates. So, and also given the fact that, like you said, Abu Dhabi being a region of islands or a city of islands, we're very much and very close to the water landscape, more or less. And the efforts that you guys are taking on, and the 2 SDGs and the prize or the winners that came out of these, even though they might not have the resources, and as youth, they are still developing and they are still taking on these efforts to really empower themselves and really give themselves future insight of how it is that they can apply these projects in the future. So
exactly. And Amar, I think you also work with youth in the Shapers community, so you're aware of once you switch on a young mind on these topics, khalas, you have a future impact leader that will take on this on a close to heart kind of.
Starting it early on is always the best way, honestly. Like as you know, the UAE again has a strong youth agenda, where they're always empowering youth. The Mubadala Investment Company just recently established the Youth Council, taking on big efforts and have done big achievements in the past year in itself. Aldar Youth Council doing more and more as well. So as you know, the youth have a strong voice here in the UAE, and it's heard, and it has a strong direction, and it has a strong influence on senior leadership to really make a positive influence and a positive impact within our communities.
Tapping, I mean, spot on, Amar. I think when we talk about sustainability and the environment that we are in today, we need to take into account tolerance, as you said, which is a huge element, and building those roots early on. One of the main things that came out of our forum is the breakdown of people who joined. We've had around 12% international people not coming, while the majority are coming from Abu Dhabi, because obviously we've had people come from different places and with the sole intention that I'm going to come and I'm going to stick around and work with people who I don't even know, and try to come with solutions and try to win that and to win that first place prize. But if not, get some really great ideas. And we've had a good breakdown of nationalities, of genders, and of ages. We see, as we see in the back, half of our attendees were below the age of 17. So these guys, like one of the most inspirational stories that touched us, honestly, the most was out of the experiences that people had. One in specific came up to me and said, Sarah, you know, I just want to say that this experience, I'm so motivated and I love doing this. This experience has enabled me to apply for global UN model applications. And one of the main reasons why I was accepted, apart from his amazing ability to deliver an idea, he's such a great young man, was the YouthSpeak Forum. His ability to deliver and pitch to a group of older young people idea that may or may not hit home, and he did it with such confidence, and he won first place.
And it's the power of these kind of platforms that really drive individuals to do more and take on more efforts within their communities and within their corporations. And I think you guys have done a great job in doing so with this forum. Moving on to the next question. So some people focus on content as a main driver of their community strategy or communication strategy. But the YouthSpeak Forum has a different perspective. Why is it more important to set the context of communications, and how do you see that playing a role out across social media?
I think to start answering these questions, I just want to give a shout out to ISEC, our program delivery partner. ISEC is the world's largest organization that we wanted to bring in here. And it's through them, through their massive global network, that we were able to reach to these international and create this buzz word of mouth. When you put a company or a brand as powerful and as well known as Aldar on an Abu Dhabi or UAE level and match it with a global youth leadership organization like ISEC, that the collaboration between the both made it very easy for us to sell a story of bringing something new to Abu Dhabi, opening opportunities, also putting Abu Dhabi on the map globally through this partnership. So I think the story here was bringing in a global best and a real estate developing best coming together to empower youth and to hear them, to give them space to actually pitch their solutions to us. And as a real estate developer, we potentially could take it forward. But I think it's the word of mouth, and it was sort of a movement. Yani the last 2-3 months before the forum, random people would call me up and they're just excited about this event. They just, hey, we heard about this and we want to be involved. We heard about this and we want to speak. There's this beautiful culture in Abu Dhabi where people just want to help and support as long as they believe in the mission of the project itself.
And one of the funny areas was while at the beginning we were very, I don't want to say scared, but we were very wary doing something at such big scale, expecting people to stick around for 2 days and deliver, planning, but then everything and all hell can break loose the day of. And that's everything leading up to that. Just a few days before, we were thinking, we have over 500 registrations. Our place can only fit 200. What are we going to do? It was one of those things where you're thinking, we really didn't expect that much ripple effect for the small thing that we were doing. And through, as Sarah said, word of mouth, and amazing partners. We've had amazing partners with us in the journey, and them telling their friends, and us doing like road shows at schools, etc., at universities. Suddenly, there was this ripple effect of, I want to be there, no matter what the time commitment is going to be. I want to be there. So I think that was. So traditional marketing is still the best marketing, I would say.
But I would add to your point, Sarah. I think one success story we can share, and maybe a lesson learned as well. It was not an Aldar event. It was not an ISEC event. It was an all of us together kind of event. The ownership was shared from the management to the organizing committee to the students themselves. We all were talking about the Aldar YouthSpeak Forum as our event, including the students themselves. They would address it as our, even before the event started. So I think building this sense of community helped us with the marketing as well.
No, very true. The power of social media on top of word of mouth is very influential here in the UAE. COP28 is already a huge example of it, and then you have forums such as yours. I even attended the previous one. Muhammad invited me on over to the one before this in Dubai, and again, it was through that, I want to say, media outreach that they were able to really commit and attract a lot of youth to these kind of forums. And not only did they do so, but they did so with positive and honestly astonishing outcomes. So no, the YouthSpeak Forum and the organizations involved were very, I want to say, inspiring to really motivate other partners to join in. And Aldar being a partner in this kind of an event is honestly a huge testament to what it is that you guys are doing to empower youth, not only within your organization, but within the wider community.
Thanks, Ahmed. Absolutely.
Now on to the next question. So people talk about the power of partnership, but you are actually doing it. So why is it important to reach out to other groups?
Yeah, I think we've been alluding to this point a lot. Really, we have to be honest, and we have to say we could not have done this without the people and the youth councils and the companies behind them that supported us. It is a huge undertaking, and we didn't really understand just how big of an undertaking that is at the beginning. As I said, I had no idea, to be honest, what ISIC is, what the YouthSpeak Forum is, but Sarah brought it to our attention as a youth council because Sarah herself is an ISIC alum. And I was like, okay, it has to be, and Sarah can, you can share more about your journey as an ISIC alum, but then us realizing that I don't even know about ISIC, I'm sure that there are tons of other people around us who don't even know. So we had to do that kind of educational, started off with educating people what ISIC is, introducing what it means for youth in our country, and especially in Abu Dhabi, the opportunities that would unlock. If you are on board with us, you could be part of that huge change and not just do a small change within the time that you are a youth council member, but this impact could carry forward much longer, way after your time in the youth council is over. That's really what we wanted to do, impact, long-lasting impact. And when we spoke to our partners and we spoke to people, some of them said, you know what, great, but events, no. And we had another idea that maybe this is not just about an event. It could be done anywhere. It could be done in a school auditorium. It doesn't have to be fancy, so long as it's a place where we can get people together and think in a structured way and for people to bring their insights. So once we got the right partners and we were able to to share the same vision, that was really what it was. Chemical reaction. It was great for us because that's when we said, now we can do it. Any challenge that comes our way, we can tackle it. It's fine if we need to get another ballroom, or we're going to manage, and that's really what happened. So that's the power of partners, because we would not have done it ourselves. For sure.
Anything to add from your side, Sarah?
I think I also want to give credit to our group CEO. He's very involved with what we do. He sits with us and he guides us, and majority of the partners that we were able to pull off were his recommendations. And like Sarah said, where we talk about a brand like ISIC that's never heard of in Abu Dhabi, it's a bit of a hard sell. You're bringing something global, something that's maybe risky, something that maybe the brand association might not be so clear. But alhamdulillah, it was a great success through the support we had from the partners. And I do want to thank Ernst & Young, Environmental Agency, Abu Dhabi Youth Council on top of all. The brands are behind us. Yeah.
Yeah. And these partners, from what I hear, I know are here to stay. After establishing that relationship, it's really important, or you guys have already highlighted that it doesn't end at the event. It really needs to be sustained, and it really does, like having that strong partnership really does drive the impact and outcomes that you really want to have. And even though maybe some of the, I want to say, initiatives and projects weren't as feasible, it's through these strong partnerships that they could actually come to life.
And it's more than just these projects. I think in the last slide, we're going to explain exactly why YouthSpeak Forum is not just an event. Yeah. And this is something I'm going to put you on the spot, Amar. Definitely we can work with the Global Shapers with your side on this in the future.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So on to the next question. So kind of similar to the previous one in terms of social media output, but how are you getting the word out? So it seems that instead of a simple show and tell, you're doing more of a know and tell. Is that correct? And if so, could you care to clarify?
I want to use the Department of Culture and Tourism as an example for this. So to bring them on, to us it was clear that the KPI for DCT would be how many internationals we're bringing in. But the amount of meetings we had and the way we explained to them, the last slide, which is my favorite, on what this event would lead up to in the next 4 or 5 years. We took a 4-year timeline with them. And it's just selling them on the end goal of this is not just a forum, this is not just an opportunity that we're enabling for youth, but this is also, oh, we're going for it. I think it's time.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So this year, in 2023, on the right, you can see Aldar delivered something called the world's largest climate change lesson. Aldar Academies delivered this. We broke a Guinness record with, I think, two records, one for the largest number of students and one for the largest number of nationalities. This was done to level the ground on what is climate change. We were able to educate everyone on what is climate change. Next step was bringing on around 200 international and local delegates to come in and deliver the YouthSpeak Forum with us, which now you all know about it. Next step, looking at next year onwards, we do want to relocate the offices of ISEC from Dubai to Abu Dhabi because A, it's closer to the relevant authorities, and B, I think there is more demand in Abu Dhabi from the YouthSpeak Forum you've attended to the YouthSpeak Forum we hosted. The drastic change really showed, and that was the proof of concept we were asked to prove. So when we spoke to the government authorities here, we told them about ISEC. They said, prove there is demand, and we're happy to support and bringing them over. So we're looking at January onwards, relocating their offices here and then establishing chapters in different universities, leading to, once these two steps are done, these chapters will run 2 different programs. One called Global Volunteer Program, where this students aged 18 to 30 can volunteer for 2 months anywhere in the world, which is how my journey started with ISEC. I went to Turkey for 2 months, and I was teaching people with intellectual disabilities English. Just a 21-year-old who knew nothing. First time I travel alone, very clueless, but very challenging, very empowering. And today in Aldar, my role is accessibility in our communities. So what I've done when I was 21, very leap of faith, ended up becoming my career, even though I'm a finance and economics degree holder. It's nothing to do with what I do now. And it's because of, like I said, I was switched on at a young age, and I decided to shift my career to something social impact related. And this is what we want to replicate. Through this program, through bringing ISEC here, we're able to enable, switch on more people to grow the capacity of sustainability in Abu Dhabi as well.
And to add on to that, there's 2 sides to this. When we look at the YouthSpeak Forum, one objective is achieving that empowerment for young people in not only the topic of sustainability and but all topics of relevance to them. That's one. But also the second objective for us is putting Abu Dhabi on the map, but not it is on the map, but for young people. For young people who don't know, who aren't as corporate, they're not very well aware, and they hear on or they see on TikTok more of other places. We want to put Abu Dhabi as a place that hosts youth for the long run. It builds on their abilities and their ideas and their skill sets for the long run. And that's the intention that we went with when speaking with the partners that you saw here were crucial in delivering the event, but really there are many players in the back and who understood our long-term vision. So this could happen. This is our target timeline, right? Target doesn't necessarily mean the actual, but this is what we intend. We intended to do it this year successfully, in line with COP28 and in line with the country's objectives this year, but also use that, as Sarah said, as a proof of concept. Ensure that enough people are benefited from this event, are engaged, and we can circle back to the impressions and to the recommendations, and we're going to show you some of their insights on how important that was, and that alone is good enough to drive the idea home, to tell the people and the partners that we work with, listen, we've done it, and the budget was so small. I don't want to get into that, but the budget was so small compared to the efforts, and that really is a testament that if enough people are interested and if the partners delivering are in it, the outcomes will be significant.
And given that you said that you wanted Abu Dhabi to be recognized for I mean, it's already on the map, like you said, but you want it to be recognized for youth specifically, the Gen Z, apparently.
They're the toughest.
So, on that, what do you want people to take away from this presentation about Aldar YouthSpeak Forum from Abu Dhabi, given that you have a strong incentive and a strong, I want to say, motivation to really empower youth in Abu Dhabi and in the wider UAE?
Maybe we go a few. Sorry, maybe this is gonna be a bit slow, but yeah, this is one of the ideas, Sarah. If you want to walk people through the global village and the delegate experience, and how that was also a way that is not YouthSpeak Forum, the 2 days in a ballroom. Outside of that, how were we able to introduce Abu Dhabi, the beauty of Abu Dhabi, to the delegates prior to them and after joining the YouthSpeak Forum?
Yeah, I think, and this is the main reason we decided to bring ISEC into this, because if we do want to put Abu Dhabi on the Gen Z map, then we need to find the largest Gen Z organization, and that is ISEC. ISEC has more than 1 million alumni, and they have over 80,000 members annually. That changes every year. So when we do put ISEC and Abu Dhabi in that network, we're able to host conferences. I won't say as big as COP, that's a dream, but conferences with 2,000, 3,000 young people within that demographic that will come to Abu Dhabi and experience what we have. And going back to the question of partnerships, this is what the selling point was with the Department of Culture and Tourism. The idea that we're able to, in 3-4 years, host the largest youth conference in Abu Dhabi and put us on the map. I think that is one approach. A second approach is having locals travel abroad to volunteer in these 130 countries within the network. So when Sarah in the future goes to, I don't know, Kyrgyzstan to volunteer, she's going to represent the UAE and she's going to engage with locals there and internationals as well. And on the other end, we're going to have internationals coming into the UAE to volunteer through this program as well. So it's the cultural exchange, and I think this is also a different element to ISEC. It's the education, it's the cultural exchange, and it's their vision is peace and fulfillment of humankind's potential. And that's a big statement. But if we are able to bring in peace and enable the fulfillment of the humankind's potential through these programs, the exchange through culture, the education through YouthSpeak Forum, I think we're able to hit a lot of the Youth Council objectives.
And what better place than Abu Dhabi? The environment and the ecosystem here in the UAE is very inclusive of the youth. We're very proud of our leadership, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, and the wider leadership here in the UAE on really making sure that not only do youth have a presence, but they also have a say. So it's something that we're very fortunate of, and you guys are taking extreme strides on to making sure that that mandate is met.
Because it's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility at the end of the day, and it's influential to see what it is that youth can do. You guys alone, even with that small budget that you've had, managed to do a lot. And given that, so you guys have just mentioned what you've done this year. I know a lot is going to happen to come, given that I see the ball is rolling. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So can you talk us through the 2023 and 2025 cycle, and what it is that you guys are trying to do across the 3-year time span, and what are the drivers to this strategy?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, صراحة, every strategy of ours, first and foremost, takes into consideration our youth at Aldar. So, at the beginning of every year, and this year, inshallah, in January, we publish a survey to our youth internally and try to understand what it is that they saw that they'd like more of, less of, that they haven't seen and they want, and from there build on the company Aldar's objectives in the short and the long term, but also the country's short and long term objectives. This is critical for us in developing our strategy. And so while most of our efforts this year was based on, or the biggest one that we're talking about today is the YouthSpeak Forum, we've been doing a lot of things in the background, internally at least for our youth, that brings their potential to the forefront. So, for example, in the survey that we've done the beginning of this year, the main thing that we've seen with our youth is not We want more compensation, a bigger bonus, all that stuff. Really, nothing like that was mentioned. When it comes to what the Youth Council can bring to the table, it is really engagement and empowerment and accessibility to management. Those are really the top three things that we've been seeing as a constant. And as such, our pillars revolve around that. So all of our initiatives, all of the work that we do has to be revolved around one of the three pillars in the back here. And that's what we've been doing. So for this year, we have mentorship, youth experts, which has been delayed, which has been delayed. We have the youth retreat, which is a celebration of youth on the International Youth Day, and our biggest one, YouthSpeak Forum. For next year, we want to focus more on our youth that are not only within Aldar company, but because we are a huge company, we have tons of subsidiaries around us with even more youth around them. We want to bring those opportunities to them as well. So we are keen, we are motivated, especially with the growth of Aldar. We are very excited.
Anything to add from your side? I can, but it's not going to be any better. So thank you guys all so much for joining us in today's session. We covered what it is that the YouthSpeak Forum was. We covered why it is that they chose the specific sustainable development goals that they've incorporated, not only due to its relevance in their industry, but also to the relevance in the geographic placement of Abu Dhabi and the relevance towards the youth specifically. They talked about communication and the importance of it. We talked about how it is that partnership can really drive strong and long-term impact. We talked about how it is that we can ensure that we get the word out and not only have I want to say, proper exposure, but make sure that it's quality exposure with proper reputation that attracts positive outcomes in the future. And lastly, we discussed how it is that the Aldar Youth Council are taking on efforts to attract youth here locally in Abu Dhabi and in the UAE. And they covered what it is that they were going to be doing in the coming years. Honestly, a lot to learn from you guys. Thank you guys for joining us in this session. I know you want to say something.
Yeah.
I'll give you this one thing and then we can end the session.
All right. I just want to show you guys a few, because we've been skipping through them and I know people are interested. Like, this is one of the really fun things that we'd like to show you. We've mentioned the world's largest climate change lesson. That was 2 Guinness World Records that we want to show you more of. But first, our near and dear to heart, the YouthSpeak Forum. So I just want to show, I don't know if the video plays. Okay.
Today we closed the conference with 2 winning projects from SDG 11, Sustainable Cities, and SDG 14, Life Below Water.
I've learned different cultures, different people. I've learned so much about the power that the youth has.
We have met amazing new people, amazing new talents, and we are so excited to make this project work going on.
It was amazing. I got the opportunity to meet with new people, make new friends, and it was awesome participating and winning first place.
Thank you. Sure, one more video, just for you to know how amazing we are at breaking records. Just want to show you the last one. This is a fun one.
Great pleasure to announce the new Guinness World Records title holders for the largest climate change awareness lesson. You achieved 1,117 participants and the most nationalities in a climate change awareness lesson. You achieved 57 nationalities.
Thank you so much, Umar. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, and thank you to the
Sarah.
Mubadala team.
Very big honor to have you guys in the Youth Council joining us here in COP28. Again, being a shareholder of the company and seeing the youth efforts from your side. And a big thank you and a shout out to the Mubadala Youth Council for organizing this.
Thank you so much.
A big honor, and I can imagine that now we have established a partnership
Yes,
so that we can
right
have
here.
long-term outcomes and long-term presence. Thank you guys so much for sharing what it is that your efforts are, and I think you've inspired many here to take on further initiatives on ensuring a sustainable future for all.
Thank you for having
again
us.
so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.